Okay, so today we're taking a look under the hood of a really fascinating experiment called the Robojit pipeline. Now, this thing is a pretty radical new way of thinking about how stories get made. It's all about using AI to kind of re-engineer the entire creative process from the ground up. So let's jump in and see how it all works.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's start with a question you've probably asked yourself. We all love movies, right? But have you ever stopped to think about why making one feels like such a huge, high-stakes gamble? I mean, what is it that makes the whole process so incredibly risky? And that question really gets to the heart of the problem, which the folks behind this project call Hollywood's risky bet. This is exactly what this new pipeline is designed to fix. So here's the fundamental issue with the way things are usually done. The entertainment industry, for the most part, relies on what you could call ad hoc processes. It's expensive, it's messy, it's fragmented. And the worst part? All of that financial risk gets piled up right at the very end, like a ticking time bomb. And this is all before anyone has a clue if the audience is even going to show up. And this is where the new model just completely flips the script. You see, instead of that messy, fragmented process with all the risk piled at the end, this AI-assisted model is systematic. It's done in stages. And here's the real game changer. The risk gets dealt with early on, and you actually validate your idea before you go big. It's a massive shift, moving away from a wild gamble to more of a manufacturing mindset. And that manufacturing mindset, that's exactly what this Robojit experiment is all about. It's a real-world test of a totally different approach, one that treats creating a story more like a system and less like a roll of the dice.
So what exactly is an AI-assisted pipeline when we get down to it? Well, think of it like this. It's a structured, step-by-step process built to completely rethink how stories are made, right from the very beginning. And it's not just about getting one story out the door. It's about developing, prototyping, testing, and then scaling an entire intellectual property, but in a much smarter, more efficient way.
Okay, and this is a really, really crucial point to understand. The creators behind this are super clear. The goal here is not to automate creativity. It's not about replacing human writers. We're not talking about an AI writing a movie from scratch. It's about using AI as a powerful tool that sits inside a process that is and always will be led by a human. All right, so that's the big idea, but how does it actually work in practice? Let's dive into the 5-stage pipeline and see the step-by-step breakdown. So here's the basic roadmap. It all breaks down into 5 main stages. First, you have human origin. Then, the IP blueprint. After that, AI prototyping, followed by market signals. And finally, scale readiness. We're going to walk through each one. Okay, stage 1, human origin. And this is the absolute foundation of everything. It all starts with a human being and a story. In this case, the source is a sci-fi novel called Robojit and the Sand Planet. Now, what's so important here is that this book was written more than a decade ago, way, way before the generative AI tools we have today even existed. So that means the story, the characters, the themes, it's all 100% human-made. It's the fixed, unchangeable heart of the whole project. And this quote right here really nails the core principle. AI is only ever applied downstream. It never, ever touches the actual point of authorship, the creative vision, the spark. That starts and ends with a human creator, period. So next up is stage 2, the IP blueprint. Now this is where you take that human-written story and you basically formalize it into a structured universe. Think of it like creating the architectural blueprints for a building. You lay out all the world's rules, the character arcs, the main themes, everything, so that the story can grow into any format you can imagine, a film, an animated series, a video game, without falling apart. This is what makes it truly transmedia ready.
And now we get to stage 3. This is where AI finally steps onto the stage. We're in the AI prototyping phase, and this is all about fast, cheap, low-risk experimentation. You can use AI to instantly generate visual concepts, or take a chapter from the book and turn it into a screenplay scene, or even mock up what a graphic novel version would look like. The whole point is to test out a ton of different ideas really quickly and affordably without spending the massive amounts of money you'd need in traditional pre-production.
And this next part is maybe the biggest innovation in the whole model, the idea of publishing before you scale up. So instead of sitting around and waiting for some studio executive in a corner office to give you a thumbs up, this project actually goes out and tests the waters with real data from a real audience. And that brings us to stage 4, market signals. So those little creative artifacts we just talked about, the concept art, the articles, the graphic novel pages, they get released out into the wild on all kinds of different platforms. But here's the trick. They aren't just for promotion. They're actually data gathering tools in disguise.
So what are they actually measuring with these signals? Well, they're looking for real-world feedback. Is anybody actually interested? Which social media platforms are lighting up? Where in the world are people paying attention? And this one's huge. Which format is hitting the hardest? Do people like the videos, the writing, or the images? It means every decision from here on out is based on actual, hard evidence, not just guesswork from a boardroom.
So what's the big picture here? Where does all this lead? Let's talk about the end game and what this could all mean for the future. And that all leads to the final step, stage 5, scale readiness. And notice, it's only after the story has proven itself with real market signals that the project even starts to think about the big leagues. We're talking studio partnerships, licensing deals, developing a full-length movie or series. As the creators put it, it's a controlled expansion rather than a leap of faith. But, the ultimate goal here isn't just to make one cool science fiction universe. The entire Robojit project is really meant to be a proof of concept. It's about creating a repeatable, efficient blueprint that you could apply to any story, for any creator. And that could be a huge deal for an industry that, let's be honest, is probably long overdue for a shakeup. Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on. As AI gets more and more woven into our creative lives, could a system like this, one that fiercely protects the human author at the core, but uses AI to smartly test and validate ideas, could that become the new blueprint for how all great stories get built? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.